All right, we got a good blue belt match. We got Harley on the left and Essi on the right. And don't forget, guys, I have started a Friday morning fight league where every Friday we have 2 matches, and then the next week the winners face each other for the championship. But this one we got some blue on blue action. So both guys looking for grips. Always the first significant thing of the match is the guard pull or takedown. In this case, it was Essi's guard pull. And this is going to be the case for most people. Most people are comfortable when they're in their guard and playing off their back, so they would rather be on bottom than on top. And that usually the lighter the weight class you go, the more that's true. Sometimes the heavier weight classes prefer to stand, but usually lightweight, middleweight, and below, guys are quick to pull guard. So now Essi's playing a collar sleeve. Harley's got to get by this knee and pass. You should try to think in terms of passing, and passing the knee line is really important. If you can't get by the knee line, your opponent is always going to be the one controlling the distance, and that's not what you want. In Harley's case, he wants to get past the knee, get chest to chest with an underhook, and he can start to pressure Essi and make him uncomfortable. Right now, Essi's head is free. He's creating a lot of space. He has a good reverse De La Riva hook and a sleeve grip. So he's looking for the collar. He's got to try to do something to off-balance Harley and potentially set up a sweep. In Harley's situation here, he could either look to stand up, maybe move to his left, try to pin Essi's knees together and pass, or he could just look to break out. What you don't want is just what happened. You don't want to get locked in closed guard. We always used to say you want to avoid closed guard like the plague, just because you just can't do anything there effectively. They say it's a neutral position, but it's really not, because the guy who's on bottom in closed guard is totally in control. At best, you can just get solid grips and try to break out, which is what Harley goes for here, but Essi made a nice transition there to grab the sleeve. Now, if he unlocks his guard and throws his right leg over to the other side of Harley's head, he could go for an omoplata sweep, which is a really nice attack as the guy stands up. Looked like he's maybe hunting a triangle there. Harley pulls away again. Harley's got to try to stand up and push the knee. He doesn't want to give Essi access to that sleeve because now he's setting up the same attack, and there's that omoplata sweep. Very nicely done. Harley's trying to get away. Let's take a look again. As soon as Harley stands, you're going to see he cross grips, and then he goes under the leg and then feeds it to his hand. If Harley would have postured really strong and ripped that hand free, he might have been able to get away. But Essi did that really clean and took him over. And he held him down just long enough to get the sweep. But what's interesting here is Harley knows he gave up the point, so right away he comes back. That was very nice to get his 2 points back. So let's look again, and that was a veteran maneuver. Anytime you know you're down, the quicker you can tie it up, the better. So Harley basically just hit a double leg as soon as Essi turned around, and that gets him on the board as well and ties the score 2-2. I had just given Essi the points for the sweep, so Harley was able to come back. But the problem here is Harley's back into closed guard. He's got to try to get his head away from Essi's head, sit back, and get grips on the sleeve and the collar, look to stand and pass. Driving in here isn't going to do you much good if your head is on his chest. Essi looks like he's got an overhook. Now this can be tricky because you got to try to free your elbow. Harley's got his elbow free. Essi's still doing a good job of bugging the posture. Now Essi looks like he wants a scissor sweep, but he's got to hop back a little more for that to work. It's not quite on his side enough. Essi's been real effective with that sleeve grip with his left hand. He keeps finding that sleeve grip. And anytime you have more grips and frames on your opponents than they do on you, that's going to be good. If you have 2 grips on him and he has no grips on you, you're at an advantage. So Essi's closed guard again. Harley's got to try to get Eddie here. Essi, to me, looks like he's hunting the scissor sweep. Maybe a triangle. Maybe an arm lock now. He's maybe thinking about pulling that arm across. But it's still all tied up, so if Essi sweeps, it would put him up by 2. If Harley passes, it would put him up by 3. So that's the battle now. Essi looks like he's going for the same attack that got him the sweep the first time. Harley's defending it well, trying to crowd Essi, not give him any space. But he hits it again. Omoplata sweep. Now he's got his 2 points. Essi's up 4-2, and now he's trying to pass. Harley's fighting off his back. Harley looks like he's got a collar sleeve. He stands up. And now Essi pulls. Now it doesn't seem like much, but honestly, this is a big problem for Harley because he's on his back down 2. So he could potentially sweep and score and tie it up or get the back. But you don't want to stand up unless you're going to shoot for a takedown right away, or you know you have a takedown advantage, because what could happen just happened. So Harley stood up and then Essi pulled. So there's no points for Harley in that situation. And Essi's back on the bottom, up 2 points. This is huge, especially in an IBJJF match. A lot of times this is the end of the match if you're up by a score or multiple scores and you're able to pull guard, just because guys have such difficult guards to pass that it just doesn't happen as often as sweeps, right? So you have, in Harley's situation, he has to be really careful. He would have been better off just staying on his butt and playing guard if he was trying to sweep. If it was his game plan to try to stand up and go for a takedown, then that's fine, but he misses opportunity. So you got to try to think of the points in that perspective. Don't just stand up and give him a chance to re-pull again. You got to try to sweep him and get your points back. And Essi is sticking to what has given him success so far this match, close guard. And honestly, I find jiu-jitsu, it's a lot about pattern recognition. Like, guys have moves that they go for and that they're good at, and they kind of just stick to those moves, and they'll just go for what they think works and just repeat that over and over and over again. I see it so much when I watch the rolls from the morning classes. You just kind of see similar moves on work for guys on different opponents. But it's something, once you pick up on it, you can really, really play with people's reactions, because people just get used to the same stuff. So say you touch their head, they're thinking, again, he's going to touch my head, and then you shoot the double leg, right? That's how you want to try to play with that pattern recognition, because people think they're just going to be able to figure you out. And Essi hit a nice sweep again there to get another 2 points. Let's take a look at that sweep. So remember, the time's ticking down. Harley has to try to take more risk to try to score. There's not as much time left. So Essi looks like he's got a scoop grip on the leg, and he was able to roll Harley over very nicely and hit a half guard sweep. Harley looks like he tries to stand up. He's got to be careful of giving too much back exposure, otherwise Essi would be able to jump on his back and secure points, and that would essentially almost end the match. But Harley recovered, started to turn in. Essi's got a grip on his shoulder. And now it's Harley's turn to play close guard. And right away, Harley has to attack. So he's down 4 points. But that's it. That's a wrap. Very technical match. There's very nice omoplata sweeps, close guard work, and some interesting transitions that resulted in points and a few not in points. So awesome match.